Joining me today is Dr. Bob Well, known as Dr. Bob, who is a respected sports podiatrist and radio host of The Sports Doctor. Dr. Bob is back on the show to talk about common running injuries and prevention. Welcome back, Dr. Bob.
Hi, Christine. It's always good to see you. I don't know. I think we're in our fourth year, maybe longer than that, that I've showed up once a month. The sports doctor is in. Of course, your
Yes,
show is called Run With It. You were a very
yes, and
serious runner. You're still putting in the miles. And we really want to give some tips on some of the common problems we see in running and some of the things that are so important in prevention. Especially if you've got a history of problems, you really want to be paying attention. Everything from, are you in the best shoe for your particular foot mechanics? Are you paying any attention to strengthening your feet and ankles? And are you dealing with paying attention if you had a history of problems, the things that we want? And runners are famous for this, trying to push through problems and sometimes ending up with a lot more of a serious problem than not. And what better time to discuss it than the Olympics when everybody's running, jumping?
yes,
It's an exciting time to see. The biggest problem we see in runners is plantar fasciitis, problems with heel discomfort and arch discomfort at all levels, at all ages. And sometimes it could be a real a hassle to get rid of because, again, people are in a hurry with that scenario. If you are a runner, by the way, you want to include podiatry as one of your team members. Again, whether you're in the best shoe for you, whether you've had a history of problems, you're the most talented runner. We want that supervision regarding, again, strengthening, proper stretching, and trying to stay out of trouble. So when we've got plantar fasciitis, when we've got many times it's first thing in the morning, people might say the first couple of steps out of bed, wow, my heel's hurting me. Then you want to be paying attention. The plantar fascia is the strong band on the bottom of the foot that connects the toes to the heel. The most common area is the heel area, the attachment of the plantar fascia to the heel. And quite often it is related, especially if it's recurrent or if it's problematic. You know, Dr. Weil, it's bothered me forever at one time or another, et cetera, et cetera. We want to be paying big attention to the role of foot. Do you have a high arch? Are you very flat-footed? Are you bow-legged? Are your leg lengths equal? All of these factors go into prevention of staying out of trouble. And we might see that we might look at intelligent rest. If you've got plantar fasciitis, you need to back off. Unless you're in the Olympics, then you might try to push through it. There was Simone Biles, man. We thought she injured her calf and limping around, and she comes out and does all sorts of spectacular things. We lucked out with that one. And any kind of tendonitis, Achilles tendonitis, is another problem we see in runners, Christine, where there's pain of the tendon itself, where it attaches to the heel, where it attaches to that whole calf area. So that's another problem area. Shin problems, shin splints, very big deal in runners. When it's persistent, it's foot related almost always. So again, we want the role of podiatry. If you're a real smart runner, you'll pay attention to orthotics. You don't need trouble to benefit from orthotics. Proper biomechanical devices, custom orthotics for that particular person, whether they're 9 years old or 90 years old, is almost always a step up in prevention. Being able to control the important motions of the foot. Foot ankle are complicated motions normally. Terms all you runners are very familiar with. Pronation and supination. They're both normal. Pronation and supination. Pronation allows the foot to absorb shock. Every time you land on your heel, pronation is starting, absorb shock. Maybe 50% of your weight every step you take. You start running, you're tripling it. already, the forces that are going up your foot, ankle, knees, and legs. Pronation allows your foot to shape to the ground. Imagine you're walking on the grass barefoot. Pronation allows your foot to adapt to the surface. And at the same time, your knee is rotating inward. So if you pronate excessively, you're rotating your knee, you're straining your knee in many instances. Pronation lasts, Christine, until you bear weight. Once you pass over the foot, pronation is done. Now, supination, your ability to push off. The foot lines up, the big toe lines up to give us a spring like push off mechanism to push us forward. When we see that again, if the timing is off, we could be running into trouble. That's many times where orthotics come in. If the foot is pronated excessively, we're stretching the arch. We're straining the arch, a la plantar fasciitis. If we're pronating excessively, we're putting tension on the tendon that attaches into the arch, that runs down the whole shin, the posterior tibial tendon. Shin splints, runner's knee. Oh, by the way, girls are different than boys, Christine. The mechanics are different. Young girls develop wider hips. They go through puberty. So the adult woman runner has wider hips and a different angle. It's called the Q angle, down to the knee. And this is why we see at all levels, there's more knee problems in girls than boys and women than men, including the serious ACL problems we see. More often, again, in the tennis player, the basketball player, the soccer player, where that girl is running, changing direction, the pickleball player. So the general rules I want to leave you guys with really is, if you are a serious runner, it's what you love. You want to pay big attention to prevention. You want to strengthen your body. You want to include cross training. I don't care if you want a bike ride. I don't care if you want to go to the gym. If you're smart, you will include also a physical therapist who could give you some feedback on what's some really good strengthening for you as a runner. What are the exercises he or she want you to pay attention to? So you want to be aware, again, if you had a history of problems, you should be paying attention. If you're very, very talented, then you want to absolutely include the strengthening side or the cross-training side. You don't want to fall into the areas of overkill. You still run 50 miles a week, right,
Yeah.
Christine? You're running 5, 6 days a week. And over the 4 years, I've tried to get you to mix in these things that are so important.
Yes.
Now, again, many times a parent or the runner themselves will ask me, do I need orthotics? Does my son or daughter need orthotics? And I say, let's ask if they'd benefit. Big difference when done properly. Well, I'm talking about art supports that you buy at the store or you get online. I'm talking about proper custom devices. Today we got high tech, man. We can use a smartphone, measure somebody for orthotic, where I've been casting people for like 40 years. So you want to pay attention to those factors, including shoes. Shoes change every time you turn around. Do you have shoes that have worked well for you? Stick with them. Replace them often if you're a serious runner, at least twice a year. You want to replace your running shoes because the shock absorbing material starts to wear and tear. You don't need to wait till you have holes in the bottom of the shoes. You want to be changing, especially if you're running year round, and especially if you're in different climates, like you. In British
Yeah.
Columbia, you might be, it might be winter, or you might be raining, it's snow, Chicago area. So you want to pay big attention to shoes. And you
Yes.
also, if you are a successful runner, you've done well, you've been very successful, you want to go lighter and lighter in your shoes. You want to even flirt with some, maybe barefoot running, which is a whole other show.
Yes.
Then I think you can start paying attention to trying to compromise. Otherwise, stick with well supportive, successful shoes for you. There's a lot of great brands. New Balance was one of my sponsors on the Sports Doctor for a long time. They're still the best shoe for women with their width sizing. just
Yes.
in generalization. But there are great brands. There's Nike, there's Adidas, there's Puma, Brooks, one of our favorite brands. Be properly fit. I can't tell you how many people, women, they've had children, their shoe size is slightly different. They think they're the same shoe size. You want to be properly fit always, and you want to pay attention to width sizing. Believe it or not, 30-40% of all of us, Christine, we're not even fit properly when it comes to, let alone our running shoes. So you can't go wrong with a good, well recommended running, walking shoe store who can really tune in to fitting you properly and giving you some feedback. So these are the things we want to pay big attention to, whether you're starting out, whether you're a competitor, whether you are looking to really run more, get more aggressive. Running injuries are nauseatingly common.
Yes. And
50% of runners will have dealt with something. And a lot of it, again, is foot, ankle, and lower extremity. And here's my last pearl. If it's anything lower extremity, your back, your hips, your knees, that are persistently a problem, pay attention to foot mechanics. They're always related. And many times it's missed, where if someone doesn't have foot pain, they can go to 12 doctors and 3 therapists, and nobody says, let's take your shoes off and watch you walk and see what kind of foot mechanics you have. I'm exaggerating.
so, Dr. Bob, if people want more information, where can they go?
Well, now they can go, it's funny, I'm updating my website. The new title is going to be The Foot Doctor, or rather the sportsdoctorradio.com. It's not up yet. So they can go to bbsradio.com/the sports doctor, and they can go to the archives and listen to past shows. You've been on probably a dozen times over the years. They can catch you with all of the things you're doing with your career and run with it. And so that they can find that out. And when I get the website up, next time I see you, I should have it up and running. Good
Yeah,
luck.
thank you so much.
It's always
And
great to be with you, Christine.
you too, Dr. Bob.
Keep running with it.
Yes. Yes. You.